Well, it's the next day, and I'm working on those other three sheaths. And I thought people might be curious how I've started getting my edges to look really, really good. And I'm going to show you how I do it. That machine right there. It's all leather dust. I sand the edges, and that's why I let these dry hard overnight, the glue. And then I take some 320 and I really smooth these edges up. And then I go in You coming? I got my air conditioner going to be up in the hundreds today. Then I take water and I squirt my water on the edges here, and I slick it using this wooden dowel in my Dremel. And I'll show you what it looks like here in just a second. I'll get it all slicked up. Oh my. There you go. We'll do all three of these. Next one. All right, here are my edges. Now I have to put my sewing grooves in these, and I'll show you how I do that. This is a groover, and what this is the groove you put right here, and that's the groove that you use your stitching chisel. I'll show you that. Let me get this groove in here. I'm going to set it up for how far up from the edge I want. So you have to make sure that I'm in the middle of my webbing right here. My webbing, and I want to make sure I'm, close to the middle of that with my groove. And I'm going to bring this in just a skosh, just a wee bit. I think that's a little too much. All right, let's go for it. And I don't want to start my ditch groove. I don't want to start my stitching beyond the web here. So I'm going to come back about 3/8 of an inch. There we go. And for looks, I always come up here and do a little groove. It just kind of looks nicer. And then one more, a little deeper. All right. So now I have to do that to all of these. But I won't make you watch me do that. I'll come back one week when I'm hammering the holes in for the stitches. All right, I'm only going to show you a little bit of this because it's noisy and it's hammering. Oh, and this is Doug's with desert ironwood. He wanted dark brown, but I'm going to do a fade on the edge here with black. And both of these are getting fades. And I really like the look this fade gives these things. Okay, here's my stitching chisel. And I'll tell you, I have found that cheap tools give you a cheap looking final product. And this is the thing. These things are so sharp. That's the thing that slit my thumb open. And what happens when you hammer it in, you have to put your thumb here to pull it out. And I sliced my thumb open with that stupid thing. All right, let me show you how it's done here. How I do it. And this is exactly how I slit my thumb open. Much more careful now. And then you put this first chisel in that last hole. And you do that all the way up here. I'm gonna do all three of them like that. I got a knife made for somebody, and I keep waiting them to. I've texted them, I've called them, and I'm trying to get their shipping address and the money. I mean, it's somebody that's bought a knife from me before, so I know they're good for the money. So I mean, I don't have to have the money right away. I just don't have their shipping address. So as soon as I get their shipping address, I'm going to go put that in a box, and I have two others. I have Teresa's and Eric's knife boxed up. They're in my truck ready to go. I'm just waiting for Jesse to contact me. Anyway, let me get the holes in these, and then I'll show you how I stitch. All right, I'm doing a little bit of sewing here. This is my big spool of thread. And I don't know what the rule of thumb is. Somebody told me you pull out 3 times the length of your stitch. And, I've tried that several times and it's never right. And there's been a few times when I ran out of thread. I would make it up and then make my stitches, back, and I'd run out of thread. So I pull out way more than I think I'm going to need. And if I have some left, what I do is use that, on the next sheath when I sew the belt loop on. So it doesn't go to waste. So here's how I start. I always start at the bottom because when I go up and then turn around and come back, I like my knot to be down here at the bottom. So here we go. That's a lot of thread. And then, here's what I do. I wrap it around my finger and hold it there. Because for the first, couple of inches, it might loosen up. So there we go. I don't pull it too tight. And here's another thing that I have found. You don't want to sew leather that's wet because you can pull the string too tight and not even realize it. and there's just no need for this string. Basically, this string thread just holds this together. The glue is doing the work, and the thread is keeping it from moving and separating, and between the two, it will never come apart. So I never tug real hard on this. And you want to, the tension you do pull these through, pull on them, you know, you want to make sure and use the same tension on each one, or else your stitches will look different. Well, I tell you, I have learned a lot just by making mistakes and figuring out a way to not make those mistakes anymore. That's kind of the way I've learned things all my life, which is why I did so terrible in school, because I'm not one that can just sit there and listen to somebody else tell me how to do something. I gotta put my hands on it and figure it out. My brain does not work any other way, and I've learned that. All my life I've been like that. I did terrible in school, and when I was a kid I used to think I was stupid because I just couldn't learn like everybody else. And of course teachers didn't teachers were pretty sure I was stupid too. Here's a little secret. Not a secret, but I had such a difficult time learning when I was a kid that they actually gave me a test to see if I was mentally retarded, because I have to learn a certain way. That's a little embarrassing to tell you that. Yeah, and I was, I think I was 8 or 9 when they were convinced I was mentally retarded. And who knows, I guess, you know, I'm happy with my life. I'm happy with the person I am. So, if I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, I'm okay with that. But growing up, I realized I definitely didn't learn like other people were able to learn. Okay, I get this done. I guess the other fella is not gonna contact me. I really wanted to get his in the mail today since I got to go to the post office to mail the other two. But I don't want to make those other two wait, and I want to be able to text them or email them their tracking numbers. So I'm going to sew this. When I get all the way up to the top, I'll turn the camera back on and show you how I turn around and go back. And then when I get to the bottom and I tie my knot, I'll show you how I do that. So we'll be back when I get a little more work done here.